Hey friends! It's not very often that I create a single page layout, but today I don't have enough photos for a double page. I've also created a lot of layouts about this camping trip, so I'm ready to just wrap it up in one single layout. I am using Stampin' Up's Weekend Adventures collection, so that's where this pattern paper comes from. And then this actually is not white. I don't know if you can tell. It's more of an off-white, a cream color, and that is one of the coordinating colors with the Weekend Adventures. This is a pattern paper. It's the tree pattern paper. And on the other side are these little acorns, and I went ahead and cut it down so it looked more like a zip strip, is what we used to call them, through Close to My Heart. So I kind of wanted to do something like this. Now I have three main photos: my husband and our friends' kids. So I'm thinking something like this. And then in that Weekend Adventure scrapbooking workshop, there was this green circle and then a journaling spot. And I actually made a mess out of this green circle. So I decided to layer it together, and I still have a tear over here that I want to try hiding. So I'm thinking if I put that kind of under my photo like that, all I have showing is this little bit of glue right here, and I could do a cluster of some sort there to hide that. But it's not even that noticeable, so if I don't end up doing a cluster there, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But this can kind of be my who, what, where, when, why for the entire weekend. So then my other layouts, I haven't even done the journaling on those yet, but I could just tell the story about what's in those photos. So I like how this is coming together, kind of a little grid. I do think I want to add something behind it. I'm not quite sure what, but I do have some little photos to help tell the story as well. Just of us hanging out and all the dogs, and it was actually a really cold weekend. So at night we actually went in and cozied up in our friends' campers rather than sitting outside. We had bonfires and stuff too to keep warm, but we spent quite a bit of time inside too. So I'm thinking of bringing in a flip flap here, a 4x6, and I did cut this one a little bit smaller so that it would be hidden behind this big photo. And then I could add these other photos here and on the back of this one. And I do have a QR code too that I'm going to add to the flip flap too. So I'm just going to use this as my photo and set that one aside and make a mess out of everything. So this is kind of where I'm starting. And then maybe use more pattern paper for behind this, or because I could do a little cluster here. I'm not quite sure how much pattern paper I want to bring in. I am going to do my title here, and I cut my title out of the Cricut. I used the Cricut for that. The font is called Balder, B-A-L-D-E-R, Balder. And I just cut it out of white cardstock, thinking I might do some treatments on it. So my title is just the name of the campground we were at. And that'll fit right across here perfectly. And then I think I'm going to do some treatment there. See what this would look like. If I kind of did a frame like that. And then had the green. I don't hate it. It kind of brings out the blue jeans. I'm going to grab my ruler. This layout's going to come together really fast. So if we measure here, if I cut it to about 7 3/4 by 10. Start with that. I am liking the blue behind that. I think it does add a nice detail. And then this is from the punch outs for the, I have gnats and flies. Goodness. This is one of the punch outs from the scrapbooking workshop. And to bring that black over, I could have that kind of hang off the edge there and kind of brace my photos. And then I could cut that off and have it come out this side too. It's a nice little title page. It doesn't need a whole lot since we have the other pages done. Here's where I'm at. I have all of this adhered down. So like I said, this one's going to go in the flip flap. I'm going to put some of my smaller photos on here. I do want to fill in this little area with some embellishments and maybe bring some down here. I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like yet. For my title, I used the Timber 3D embossing folder. So it cuts out this wood grain. And I played with the idea of adding some brown, gray. I'm not quite sure if I want to add any blending. I was going to use my blending brush and go over it, but I just wasn't loving how much brown it brought in, and I thought the white had a nice pop to it. There's not a whole lot of white on my layout. I don't know, I might still bring something in. Using the Scenic Adventure, I cut out this row of trees. You've seen me use that a lot. And then these two dies as well. This one's a set of 2 trees, and then this one's that single little tree. And then I did some stash busting and grabbed out the Forever Forest dies, and I used this tree and this tree here and die cut those. So now I have this one, and I thought of that one going here, and then I want a row of trees going along here and kind of covering up part of my title. I think that would be cute, having it poke out. And then I want these little trees down here. But my one problem is this is a flip flap. So this won't fit into the flip flap. The flip flap is only 4x6, so I can't let it hang down. And if I go up into the picture, it's kind of defeating the purpose of hiding this open space here, or this messy space is what I think it looks like. So this is gonna go under the flip flap, and I kind of want that tree to cover that messy spot. But then when this is on top, it just looks kind of weird having just that tree, the bottom of the trees. So then I thought if we did a third one that came out further, like over here, then maybe it would make more sense that this is trees. Maybe have this one come down even further, and then have this one kind of right there. So then when the flip flap's on top, you see some of the trees poking out, and it's not covering a whole lot of this picture. And then when you flip this up, you'll see those trees more. And maybe I even want to use a bigger one. Let me see. I thought of this one, but I thought it was too big. But what if I left that one out and did kind of a bushier tree back there? I could even do this one, you know, have a cluster of 3 instead of 2 down here so that he's not going to waste. We'll see. How would that look? That's kind of fun. Could even bring it up a little more because I don't need to see that cottage cheese container. It's kind of nice. I do wish this could go over the top. I like how that looks. Let's cut this one out and see what that looks like. And then while I'm away, I'm also going to ink onto this. And I'm just going to bring in some green ink. This is toffee, but I'm going to bring in some green ink on my blending brush. And I'm just going to go kind of around the trees just to add a little more dimension to it so it doesn't look so flat on my page. I've gotten this adhered, and then I went through my stash and I grabbed out these wood grain pieces. I wanted a little something more over here to brace this larger tree, and then also Oh shoot, I wanted that. Dang it. I wanted it behind this other tree. I wonder if I can lift that up or if it's too late. Oh no, I didn't add adhesive all the way. Okay. There. I might add a little more adhesive to that. That's just some glue. Okay, there we go. I wanted these two in front of that big one. There we go. I wanted to add something here to brace this and kind of show that this is a flip flap and have something peeking out a little bit more than just the trees. So I have this larger tree here and then my smaller trees kind of framing this in. So then I'll have a few more photos, maybe a little more journaling here that's hidden, and then same here. I could have some more journaling or photos on the back side of the flip flap. So that's gonna go there. And then because I brought in that arrow, I brought in another one, and I kind of wanted them both to go the same direction. And then these stars. And this one I strategically placed over this gap here. I'm not in love with how you have to overlap it. So I kind of hid that one. This one I don't think is as noticeable. And it's clear up here. So if I added something more up there, I think it'd be obvious what I was doing. So I decided not to do any inking on my title. I just liked the wood grain of that. I'll bring this up a little closer. I really like the detail the embossing folder added to my title. I'll add some more photos here and then my journaling right down here. And look at those trees and the inking and the shadow it kind of creates behind the trees by inking around those. If you enjoyed this layout, I have some other ones on my channel using this same Weekend Adventures paper, and it's the same camping trip. So go check out my recent videos and you'll find others from this camping trip. This is what it'll look like once that flip-flop gets added, and we can have another one in the books. Thanks for watching, guys, and sticking around. Leave me a comment down below. I love hearing from you. And until next time, live a life worth scrapping.